42, Leandria Johnson finally spoke out, and what she revealed about Pastor Creflo Dollar has shocked the gospel world. For years, rumors and whispers surrounded their relationship, but now the truth is coming to light. What she exposed will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about one of the biggest names in modern ministry. Stay tuned, because what happened next is nothing short of explosive. For years, Leandria Johnson has been one of gospel music's most powerful voices, known for her soul-stirring songs and heartfelt performances. But behind the spotlight, a story has been quietly brewing, one involving tension, confrontation, and revelations about Pastor Creflo Dollar, a pastor whose ministry has influenced millions worldwide. In this video, we're going to take you inside this highly anticipated confrontation. You'll hear the concrete facts, the timeline of events, and the shocking claims Leandria made. From the early signs of conflict to the moment she finally confronted Pastor Dollar, we'll break it all down step by step. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete understanding of what really happened, including details that have never been widely reported before. Make sure you watch closely, because some of these revelations are truly mind-blowing, and you won't want to miss a single detail. Next, we'll dive into the first section, which covers how this tension began and the background that led to this explosive confrontation. To fully understand why Leandria Johnson's confrontation with Pastor Creflo Dollar made headlines, we need to go back several years. Leandria, known for her powerful voice and emotional gospel performances, has always had a presence that commands attention. But behind the music and the awards, there were subtle signs of strain between her and some leaders within the gospel community, most notably Pastor Creflo Dollar. Pastor Dollar, a well-known figure in modern ministry, has built a massive following with his messages about faith, prosperity, and spiritual growth. However, he has also faced his fair share of controversies over the years, from financial scrutiny to public disagreements with other gospel figures. It was in this environment that tension began to simmer between him and Leandria. According to sources close to the situation, the early friction wasn't dramatic at first. It started with small disagreements over performances, ministry collaborations, and financial decisions tied to church events. Leandria, who has always been vocal about her values and integrity, reportedly found herself at odds with certain practices and expectations that Pastor Dollar's team had established. Fans began to notice subtle signs as well. Interviews where Leandria seemed hesitant, social media posts that hinted at frustration, and unexplained cancellations of joint events all pointed to an underlying conflict. Rumors began circulating online, sparking debates in gospel circles. Questions emerged. Was this a clash of personalities, a dispute over finances, or something deeper? As this tension quietly escalated, the stage was being set for what would become a confrontation that no one saw coming. The buildup wasn't overnight. It was years in the making, shaped by repeated misunderstandings, disagreements, and a growing frustration that Leandria could no longer keep private. And just when many thought things might settle, an event occurred that pushed her to finally speak out, a moment that would shock both fans and the gospel community alike. After years of tension simmering beneath the surface, there was a specific incident that became the breaking point for Leandria Johnson. Sources reveal that it wasn't just a single argument or disagreement, it was a series of events that accumulated over time, testing her patience and resolve. Fans who have followed her journey know that Leandria has always valued authenticity and transparency, and when those principles were challenged repeatedly, it set the stage for a confrontation that had been a long time coming. The first major flashpoint reportedly occurred during a church event where Leandria was scheduled to perform. According to insiders, she was asked to alter her set in a way that compromised her artistic vision and message. What might seem minor to an outsider was, in her eyes, a violation of the integrity she had worked so hard to maintain. After politely voicing her concerns, she felt dismissed, not just by the event coordinators, but indirectly by Pastor Dollar himself. Adding fuel to the fire were financial disagreements. Leandria, like many gospel artists, depends on both performance fees and royalties from her music. Sources claim that she noticed discrepancies in how funds were being handled during collaborative events, particularly those linked to Dollar's ministry. While the details are complex, what's clear is that she felt undervalued and, more importantly, began to play a role as well. Fans started noticing posts that hinted at frustration without revealing specifics. Followers speculated about potential rifts, sparking online debates and gossip. While Leandria stayed mostly quiet publicly, her inner circle confirmed that tensions were reaching a critical point behind closed doors. The final straw came during a private meeting that was meant to smooth over past disagreements. Instead of resolution, Leandria reportedly faced condescension and a lack of accountability from members of Pastor Dollar's team. Feeling disrespected and dismissed, she realized that if she didn't confront the issue directly, it would continue to fester and potentially damage both her career and personal well-being. It was at that moment that she made the decision to speak out, to finally address the tension head-on and confront Pastor Dollar. What she revealed in that confrontation not only shocked the gospel community, but also exposed dynamics that many had only whispered about for years. And just when everyone thought the conversation might stay private, what happened next sent shockwaves across social media, leaving fans divided and eager for more. The day of the confrontation between Leandria Johnson and Pastor Creflo Dollar was highly anticipated, though few outside their immediate circle knew it was happening. Sources close to both parties say that the meeting was tense from the very beginning. Leandria arrived determined to speak her truth, while Pastor Dollar, known for his composed public demeanor, seemed cautious yet guarded. Leandria reportedly began by recounting the years of frustration that had led her to this moment. She detailed instances where she felt dismissed, undervalued, or undermined, both publicly and privately. One insider described her tone as calm but firm, leaving no room for ambiguity. Unlike previous attempts at reconciliation, this confrontation was deliberate, methodical, and rooted in facts rather than emotion. Among the most significant points she raised were financial discrepancies and mismanagement. Leandria highlighted situations where proceeds from joint events or album collaborations appeared to be misallocated or withheld. She did not make accusations lightly. She brought documentation and specific examples to support her claims. This was not a confrontation based on rumors or hearsay. It was evidence-driven, which made it harder for Pastor Dollar to deflect or minimize the issues. Another major point of tension involved artistic control. Leandria expressed frustration over how her performances and musical contributions were being handled. She argued that her voice and message had been altered or restricted in ways that compromised her integrity as an artist. According to sources, this was one of the most emotionally charged parts of the conversation, as it touched on her passion, faith, and career identity. What made this confrontation particularly shocking was the intensity and clarity of Leandria's statements. She didn't just express personal grievances, she demanded accountability. Multiple insiders confirmed that there were moments where Pastor Dollar appeared visibly uncomfortable, which is rare given his reputation for composure in public and private settings. The confrontation reached a climax when Leandria laid out what she believed needed to change for any future collaboration or continued association. She made it clear that without transparency, respect, and acknowledgement of past missteps, she could no longer remain silent or compliant. This moment left the room in palpable tension, with both sides facing the reality of a relationship that could no longer continue as it had. However, just as many thought the confrontation had ended, an unexpected revelation emerged that would further shock fans and the broader gospel community. A claim surfaced regarding internal decisions within Pastor Dollar's ministry, decisions that many had never questioned publicly but were now thrust into the spotlight. This revelation would ignite online discussions, debates, and even backlash, showing just how far-reaching the impact of this confrontation would be. Following the intense confrontation between Leandria Johnson and Pastor Creflo Dollar, several revelations emerged that sent shockwaves through the gospel community. These were not vague accusations or hearsay, they were concrete claims supported by evidence and insider testimonies, and they painted a picture of a ministry struggling with internal conflicts, financial ambiguities, and strained professional relationships. Revelations centered on financial transparency. Leandria reportedly highlighted specific instances where funds from ministry events, album collaborations, and church-sponsored concerts were mismanaged or improperly allocated. While Pastor Dollar's ministry has always been high-profile, this was the first time an insider-level perspective surfaced publicly, showing that even trusted artists and collaborators sometimes faced discrepancies when it came to compensation. Fans were shocked because Dollar's public image has long been one of prosperity and faith. Yet here was evidence suggesting that things behind the scenes were far more complicated. Another revelation involved the handling of artistic control and creative input. Leandria explained that she had been repeatedly asked to adjust her performances and music in ways that compromised her personal message and spiritual authenticity. What made this particularly startling was the fact that many in the gospel world had assumed such collaborations were harmonious. Leandria's disclosure revealed that even celebrated ministries can struggle with internal power dynamics, where artists' voices may be minimized or shaped to fit a specific narrative. Beyond finances and creative control, the confrontation also exposed interpersonal dynamics within Pastor Dollar's inner circle. Leandria's claims suggested that her concerns were often dismissed or ignored by staff members, creating an environment where grievances went unresolved. For fans and followers, this was eye-opening. It demonstrated that even prominent ministries face challenges in accountability and communication, and it highlighted the courage it took for Leandria to step forward publicly. Perhaps most explosive was a claim regarding decisions made within the ministry that affected multiple collaborators. According to insiders, some choices were made without consultation or transparency, leaving key artists, including Leandria, feeling sidelined. These revelations didn't just pertain to her. They opened the door to questions about how the ministry operates at large and how other artists might have been impacted over the years. The fallout was immediate. Social media erupted with reactions from fans, gospel commentators, and fellow artists. Some defended Pastor Dollar, emphasizing his decades of ministry and spiritual impact. Others praised Leandria for her courage, seeing her stand as a powerful example of accountability and transparency in a world where speaking out can carry significant risk. Forums, blogs, and social media threads filled with debates and hashtags related to the confrontation began trending, signaling that this was more than a private dispute. It had become a public moment in gospel history. And just when it seemed the conversation had reached its peak, additional details emerged hinting at possible long-term consequences for both Leandria and Pastor Dollar. Industry insiders hinted at potential shifts in collaborations, upcoming events, and even media appearances, leaving fans eager for the next chapter in this unfolding saga. The suspense was palpable, and one question lingered. How would Pastor Dollar respond publicly, and what impact would this confrontation have on his ministry moving forward?